Edisonation, and I am here today with Scott Dromes, our Vice President of Intellectual Property and Licensing. Hi, Scott. How are you this morning?
Great, Amy. How are you today?
Good. Hey, I want to thank you again for joining me because there's some things we wanted to talk with our community about, and actually other people who might log on and see this video. We love our jobs. We love what we do. We love our community. But one of the things I think that we can agree on that we dread the most is that red X, is when an innovator's dashboard is updated because their idea is bumped out with that red X. So I wanted to talk with you and really hopefully we can get the community to think about this in another way and to hopefully put some encouragement and move forward thought process behind the dreaded red X. So I'm going to go ahead and let you jump in and give your thoughts and some feedback to our community on this.
Absolutely. I think, Amy, it's an interesting topic. Certainly, and we've done this at Edison Nation internally as well. We come up with an idea, or we've developed a product internally that we're really bullish on, that we believe in, and we get excited about it, and we do kind of view it almost like family. And we've had ideas and products that we've pushed and put resources behind that haven't panned out or haven't worked, and it is discouraging. So I think, the human nature side of it, we understand. And I think, it's trying to understand how you can separate your idea from viewing it as if it's your child. We always kind of talk about that internally, that you kind of want that separation to where when there is that rejection or that lack of success that happens, that we understand it's not a personal attack against the product, it's not a personal attack against the idea. It just unfortunately didn't work out. And I think there's a lot of ways that we look at taking that result and trying to figure out how do we grow from that, and try to make it positive. And certainly, we encourage innovators to do that. And I think it's important, Amy, too, that not only do you take this approach when you're working with a company like Edison Nation, but also the way you may react to a rejection if you're dealing directly with different manufacturers or retailers who you have approached. It says an awful lot about the individual with how they face that rejection. And you kind of in inventing, you kind of have to have a bit of a thick skin. And obviously, if you are pursuing your ideas on your own with multiple companies, you really want to have a good reputation with approaching them as to how you handle their feedback or their constructive criticism. So I believe, again, regardless of who you're working with, it's a great value to have in your personal toolbox as to how to deal with and grow from a rejection or a decline of your idea.
Right. And I love absolutely everything you said, because it is so true. And, whether, with Edisonation, you're working with us and we're working to get your products, your ideas licensed, or you're working with a company outside, obviously, Edisonation and these other companies are open to additional ideas. So maybe this one's not going to work. It is not a personal decision. There are so many factors involved with ideas and getting a product licensed and commercializing that product. And you want to keep the doors open,
Exactly.
and learn from it, move forward. Because if you are an idea person, if you're a creator, you're going to have lots of ideas. And
Absolutely.
what you can take from it, what you can learn from it, what you can put forward, and then to have these relationships with these companies who know, they know this innovator, they know this person, and they want, that they will willingly look at the emails and the submissions is very important to keep in mind. So
exactly, and I think that's one of the things that we at Edison Nation kind of pride ourselves on is, our partners have come to respect and value the vetting process that we do on innovations.
Yeah.
And they believe that we are presenting to them the best of the best ideas that have gone through our review process. But I think even more importantly at times than their respect of our vetting capabilities is their appreciation for the fact that we respect their timelines and we respect their decision-making process, because ultimately they're going to be the ones that are committing the resources, both human resources wise and financial resources wise, to develop an idea and to bring it to the market. So, I think as an independent innovator, you also want to show that same respect to a manufacturer or a retailer when they do perhaps decline or pass on your idea. It will go a long way, as you said, Aimee, to not only that idea and maybe its future path, but also, more importantly, perhaps the path of other ideas that you may develop down the road as well.
Right, right. Because we want our innovators to keep innovating. We want the ideas. Companies need the ideas. These are products that people utilize. We would love to see that. So, question for you. So there's a common term, a quote we've heard around the office that I know I've heard you mention, and I want to ask you to explain this a little bit to people. Fall in love with the problem, not the solution approach. Explain that to me. What does that mean, and how can our innovators use that to better what they're doing?
Yeah, I think it's a great saying, and I know several organizations that we're associated with, as well as other major corporations, have used that internally as a saying. And I think the premise of that, Aimee, boils down to, and we talk about it. The best consumer product ideas are ultimately products that a mass number of people can identify with, or a good number of people can identify with the problem that you've identified, whether it's a daily task or a chore or an activity. So, you want to fall in love with that. Fall in love with the feeling that you have of maybe not executing a daily task as efficiently as you'd like to. And then you can develop the solution for it. And your initial solution, maybe it does get declined, but that may mean that you're on the right path from the problem perspective. It's
Yep.
just that, hey, I need to take some time and revisit either that idea, that solution that I first proposed, and determine, based on some of the feedback that may have been provided, how can I work around that feedback? How do I get over that hurdle? Or you may look at it and say, you know what, based on the feedback, gosh, this isn't the solution that I need to move forward with. I need to focus my efforts on another solution that addresses this problem, because I really have identified this problem that, Edison Nation, manufacturer X, manufacturer Y may agree is a problem that they do need to handle and they do need to address. I just need to develop a different solution. I think that also, if you keep that saying in the back of your mind, it does help keep it a little less emotional than
Right.
it often can get.
Right, right. Because the one thing we don't want to do is for people to give up.
Exactly.
If you have that, again, that creative passion, and you have these ideas coming to you, don't give up on it, but learn. If your idea gets bumped or it's not what a company's looking for, maybe it's the timing, maybe it's the cost to manufacture. Don't give up. Look back into, like you said, fall in love with the problem. Do you need a greater wow statement? Something to sway. So fall in love with those problems rather, and
Exactly.
and move forward. Use
And I
the
think it's always an opportunity to grow. I think, I even look at it, and again, I feel what an innovator feels. I myself or other members of our team, we will travel into somebody's home, basically, if you think of it this way. I mean, we're traveling onto their home turf of some of our partners, and we're going into their conference room, and we're pitching these ideas to them. So, and we may have internally, we may have developed feelings for, gosh, I really feel good about these 4 or 5 ideas that, gosh, how could they not like these ideas? So, we in a way kind of feel that same rejection as well. And so we understand it, we live it, we breathe it. And oftentimes, maybe not as directly personal do we feel it, but we may feel it in a smaller scale, but on a broader scale as well. That, it may be there were 20 ideas that we spoke with somebody about that they didn't really respond to. So we feel it, and we look at how do we go back as well. So we take the same approach as a company. How do we go back? We've had a number of searches over the years where I think one of the greatest things that can be said to us, and I think it also represents well upon our community of innovators, is when we go back and we've done a second or a third search for a company, and they have come back to us at the end of the meeting and they said, wow, this really nailed it. You guys got it. Gosh, I was involved in the first search, and I know we didn't find much that interested us at the time, but boy, the community got it. You guys got it. So, we feel the same thing. It's, sometimes it is, hey, let's go back to the drawing board and let's think about how we can solve this problem
Right.
with a different solution the second time around.
Excellent. Yeah. And then I also know we've got a great forum community for people. Um, Check out the forums, get support from other innovators, learn from what other creators are saying, as well as the feedback, from Edison Nation. I know we've had situations, Scott, where someone submits an idea and, you know, a patent is found, that maybe offsets that. So talk about that too, and things that people can look at in that way.
Yeah, I think it's a great point, Amy. And I've had several community members before that have reached out um, either directly to a team member or reached out through support site, which is obviously the encouraged approach, or we've seen it in the forums as times as posts where somebody has said, gosh, I thought I had done my research and I had identified a patent that I highlighted in my submission. I talked about how I thought my idea got around it. But wow, Edison Nation found this additional patent that I had not discovered during my research. And I've had several that have said to me, gosh, I'm thankful that I only spent $25 on this.
Right.
And I got great advice and I got great feedback. And I was alerted to a patent that I didn't know previously had existed. And I'm glad that I hadn't spent the money on filing for a provisional patent, or I'm glad that I hadn't paid for, $1,000 or more for a patent search, or I'm glad that I hadn't started to develop it and put my 3D prototypes together and do CAD work and start to develop and really sink meaningful resources into it. So it is rewarding when we do see those folks that come back and say, wow, for $25, you guys gave me some great guidance that either changed the path of my idea going forward, propelled my idea to go forward, or made me review it and evaluate if the idea should go forward or not. And I think that's for our team members, that's really rewarding to get that kind of feedback.
Right, right. Excellent. Well, I want to thank you for joining me today. Again, just to wrap it up, I wanted to have this conversation with you because we've got a great community. We're a tight community of innovators, and of course, we have our highs and our lows, and we want people to understand that if they get that feedback or the red X, that there is a move forward part, that there's so much you can do to move forward. Continue doing what you love to do. Maintain those great relationships, with innovators and with the companies, Edison Nation or the other companies you're working with to just get better and revisit, your idea or maybe additional ideas that you come up with. So I'll let you wrap this up, and any last words?
No, I think, Amy, I think you nailed it right there. And I think, there's nothing wrong with having a strong belief in your idea.
Absolutely.
And we encourage people, and we love seeing that passion. I think you just, at times, let's just make sure we control that passion. And we all have to do that in life with a lot of things. And understand that, our objective is really, we want to be successful, but we're only successful if you are successful as an innovator. Right. So we're hoping that the feedback we're giving is guiding you and is providing some information that will hopefully allow you to get back to the drawing table and just kind of revisit your idea and stay positive about it. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Scott. We are Edison Nation because of our community, our great innovators. So thanks for joining me today. Hopefully,
thanks for having me.
Let people look ahead and stay encouraged and to, just stay positive. Keep inventing if that's what you love to do. So thanks so much, Scott. We'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Amy.
Right.
Have a great rest of the day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.